Good morning. Welcome into Let's Bet It. Lauren Jabara here with Jared Smith, and I am feeling perky and chipper this morning. Do you
Wonder
want to know
why.
why? Because the Colorado Avalanche are up 1-0 in the Stanley Cup final. That game was lit last night. Lit.
Awesome game. Awesome game. I was feeling pretty shocked actually after the first 10 minutes. So spot on that there was no rust for the Avs. But I was also impressed with how the Lightning adjusted after that first period. And we can get into the results of the game and how it affects the series price a little bit later in the show. But I think big picture, we're in for a good series because there wasn't a lot separating those two teams over 60 minutes plus 90 seconds or so of overtime last night. It was a really intense third period for sure. That was completely scoreless, and Avs go up 1-0. Deserving. They were the deserving team last night. I think over the full picture, they outskated the Lightning, but I was impressed with Tampa Bay's adjustments after that first period.
This is the two best hockey teams on this planet.
Absolutely.
Going up against each other. 6 more of those games, please. We have a lot to talk about today. Obviously, we have NBA Morning Radar with Brian Scalabrine. We have Game 6 back in Boston tonight. We'll get Brian Scalabrine's take on what he expects to happen tonight at TD Garden. Then we have our Better Up segment, NHL recap. But before we get into Bry Guy, I'm doing a new segment. And I'm going to do it a couple times a week. It all depends on what's going on and what's going on with my bets, et cetera, called Jabara's Jabronis. Whoever is a Jabroni the day before, I want to call it out the day after. So
I love this
starting out the show today, my Jabara's Jabroni, sorry, Jared, is you, because you went against me yesterday and you said that the Avs had no chance of winning and you couldn't disagree with me more on them not being rusty. You said you couldn't disagree with me more on them being rusty and not being rusty. I said they weren't going to be rusty. You said they were. So you're my jabroni today. You are my
I don't have any argument for it. I think to be fair,
for a second.
Put the crown on. She deserves her crown. To be fair, I think Tampa Bay's adjustments after the first period make me a little less of a jabroni than like the big, like we're just getting our feet wet with the jabroni status. You were 100% spot on how the Avs started that game. And I think a lot of other analysts were very surprised with how not rusty Colorado was. You were on top of it and you completely nailed it. But you got to give the Lightning a lot of credit because they took the Avs best
totally
after that first period. And I thought it was done after that first period. I was like, wow, Colorado's just going to skate right through them. And they're going to be, the more rested team. But, man, the Lightning are a tough out, man. This is going to be a really, really fun series. And I'm expecting more adjustments game 2. And I expect also Vasilevsky to play better as well. He's going to play better than I think he did in game 1.
No, totally.
And I think Darcy Kemper will play better too because he hasn't played much of late. So I think we got the over game and we got the crazy.
Yeah. That third goal that the Lightning scored was kind of a weak goal. There wasn't even really anyone blocking Kemper's eyes. The second one was sick. Kucherov absolutely dangled Devon Toews. That just was a nasty setup for that goal. But we'll see. We'll see what happens come tomorrow. Game 2 at Ball Arena for the NHL Stanley Cup final.
I think it's Saturday.
Game 6.
Is it tomorrow Saturday? Or is it Saturday?
I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow.
It is tomorrow. I thought maybe they gave them an extra day. Yeah, it's Saturday. They're giving him an extra day.
It is Saturday. And then after Saturday, it's every other day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday.
I wonder why that is.
So, Saturday.
I wonder why they're giving him an extra day despite no travel.
Yeah. Maybe to give the Lightning a little – or I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe they get more eyes.
Usually they don't do that in hockey. They're pretty regimented with the schedule. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, so we got game 2 on Saturday for the NHL Stanley Cup final. We got game 6 tonight. For the NBA final. Golden State Warriors could finish it off. Celtics backs against the wall. We know that they're really good when coming off of a loss. They're 7-1 so far this postseason after a loss. For more on that, let's bring in Brian Scalabrine to chit-chat through it all with us. Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Scal, you were there in person. I know you said you wanted that to be your last trip to San Francisco, but now you're hoping for one more trip to San Francisco. Just what was your take overall? Because The Celtics came out that third quarter and they were really good, which the third quarter in the past has been something that's really been a challenge for them.
They were never going to win that game. I hate to admit it. Like the way that they started that game, they didn't have the juice that they needed and the energy that they needed to win. And it doesn't have to just be a road game. You can't play like that at home and expect that the Boston Celtics were going to beat the Golden State Warriors. Everything that they did, even when they were playing great in that third quarter, they were playing right into the hands of the Golden State Warriors. I know it didn't look like that because they made 8 threes in a row. You can't believe oh, if we just make all of our shots, we're going to win and we're going to be fine. It doesn't work like that. So here's what I'm expecting. I really just chalk that up. Every NBA finals, there's always a game where you can't take anything from it. You can't take anything from the way that they played, the way that their game plan, what the Warriors did, Steph Curry not playing well. I just chalk it up as an anomaly that the Warriors happened to win. So moving forward, the Celtics. Here's what I will expect tonight. And I kind of expected this in game 5. I'd be shocked if they don't do this. Play faster, get the ball up the court, not walk it up. Forget going at isolations and trying to attack Steph Curry or Jordan Poole. That works, but it works in a holistic point where you drive, kick, and when you have Curry on them, drive them. Don't spend 10 seconds picking out a certain matchup just to exploit a matchup where the Warriors are a phenomenal rotation team and they can stop that. Now you're up against the clock, and that's the reason why they had those 18 turnovers. But today is fast, drive, kick. You make the Warriors get in rotation, which will open up these plays. Probably an over on the Celtics, whatever their number is. An over on assists, pick a few guys that you think. And I also think role players hitting over on threes. Grant Williams, probably 0.5. Al Horford, 2. Derek White going over. Even a Marcus Smart going over, even though I'm not sure I'm going to play that because I look at him as kind of like a cornerstone in this game. So that's where I'm kind of leaning. Celtics play much faster, and Celtics get this game 6 win in the Garden. Crowd's going to be crazy. It's going to be hard for the Warriors to beat the Celtics 3 games in a row and 2 times on their home court.
Yeah, that's a good point because they've won 2 in a row in the series. First time anyone's won 2 in a row in this series. So when we look at the Celtics in their wins in this series, Scal, 2 of them, they're averaging 118 points. In their 3 losses, they're averaging 93. And obviously, when you win, you're going to score more than when you lose. But I think what it says, when they can get that offense revved up and when they do have success, I think the Celtics winning and covering this game is a very correlated bet to the Celtics team total tonight. So my question is, of the 2, if you had to pick one, for the Celtics to score, it's over 106.5, or for them to win this game tonight and cover, which has been the trend most postseasons in this postseason, which one would you pick? If you had to pick one.
You always do this to me. You're supposed to be picking these things, not me. I tell you what's going to happen. You're the one that's supposed to pick the bets.
I've got a few of them later. I'm just curious your thoughts here because we're going to sift through which of the
I'm just trying to think
you think is better.
I'm trying to think if the Celtics go 63 points in the first half, and let's say they're up 63 to 47, like that, right?
They slow it
Does
down.
that mean that they take their foot off the gas and they don't hit that 107?
Yes. I mean, how many times have we seen starters not even play in the fourth quarter of this series? I think it's happened twice.
Yeah, I think I'd rather take the Celtics covering than take the 106. I do like the 106.5, but I think I like the Celtics covering more. Bang.
Boom.
Bang.
Nailed it.
I love it. I have a couple props I want to ask you about. I know you were talking over assists. I was looking at Marcus Smart, and I was actually leaning to the under 5.5 assists. I have 2 Marcus Smart props. I want to go through them and get your thoughts on him. I'm leaning to his under 5.5 assists, but over 16.5 points. For the points, he's gone over this total in 3 straight games, 20 points in 2 games. He's just become a legit offensive weapon for the C's, and his 3-point shooting is really, really good. How do you feel about Marcus Smart over 16.5 points?
Yeah, of all the people that I'm playing today, I'm not playing Marcus Smart on the over assist. I might play Tatum and Brown. I might play Al Horford. I'm not sure I'm playing the Marcus Smart over assist. So I like that. And look, I know he's going to shoot them. And I think on a game like today, I think he actually makes them. So I would co-sign both of those bets because I really feel like this is a direction that Smart can go as far as getting shots created by Tatum getting shots created by Brown. And also, he's had a great advantage in the post, which the Celtics have been going to him a little bit against a Curry and a Jordan Poole. So I'll co-sign both of those. I wouldn't.
Yes, I know. And Jared.
I won't bet the under on assist. I won't bet the under, but I definitely don't think he's going over.
But you're not betting the over.
No.
Yeah, Jared, just so he has had fewer than 5 assists in 8 straight games, including every single game this series too. So that could back it up as well. It is a little juicy. You're laying 50 cents for it. It's minus 150 on FanDuel for the under 5.5. So it is a little juicy, but the over on points, you're only laying 18 cents at minus 118 for over 16.5. So yes, I'm betting both of them, Scal. Thank you. Appreciate that.
The props
just
are
be careful
plentiful.
Because when the Celtics play the best, when they're at their best, I'm like, I don't want to take the over either. But when they're at their best, everyone moves the ball, everyone touches it, and Marcus is the best passer on the team.
Yeah.
So just be careful with the Celtics knocking down shots or Al Horford getting it going, where Marcus Smart can just kind of trip into 7 or 8 assists. But
yeah,
I'm co-signing yours. I'm not taking this. I like everybody else's over on assists except for Marcus Smart's in this particular game.
Yeah,
it is tough when the role players are expected to play better. In this spot, we expect that. It's hard to predict where the assists are going to come from because when the shots go in, that's the hard part about assists. It's a 2-pronged cap. The pass has to be good, but the shot has to go in, or else the pass doesn't mean anything. All right, one question that we posed last time that I think is very relevant tonight is the money line price for Boston versus the series price for Boston. And does it make sense to bet the series price if we think Boston's going to not only win tonight, but win in Game 7? I can do the math for you if you'd like. I don't want to bore our audience too much. But what I could tell you is the series price right now, I'm taking FanDuel's prices and I'm using the math based off of that. The series price is 3-1. And their price tonight on the money line is minus 162. If we assume their Game 7 money line price is going to be the same as it was in Game 5, which is a bit of a loose assumption, I think you could say that if the Celtics win tonight and win big, the Game 7 money line price might be shorter than it was in Game 5. I think that's a fair assumption to make too. But let's assume, just for this experiment, the money line price in Game 7 is the same in Game 5. It actually makes more sense to play the series line at 3-1. You're getting a little bit more value there on the series price, a little bit more ending stake. But let's say, Scal, that the money line price in Game 7 is shorter. Then you're getting even more value to bet the series line tonight, Boston plus 300. So the question I ask you, can the Celtics still win this series? And is that something that
I asked Lauren is, what the hell is he talking about?
What?
Tell me, translate what he said so I can understand it. Like my brain right now can understand it. Okay.
If I took 100,
I don't want you. I've already heard you.
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead, Lawrence. Go ahead. This is your moment.
I think you're telling me take the series, right?
Yes. We're comparing betting
do.
the series price or betting the money line in Game 6 and Game 7 for the Celtics and rolling it over. The rollover.
I think they're going to cover. How does that factor in? How would that factor into your...
You're risking assumption? A little bit more because they could win and not cover, which hasn't happened.
Yeah.
But...
It hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened.
They're not...
So,
Game 6
Jared,
is
what
not
you're saying is you would take the money line at minus 166 in this game, and if the Celtics win, you roll over your winnings to Game 7 on the Celtics money line, is what he's saying.
What I'm telling you is that rollover at the end of Game 7, if the Celtics do win, you will have less money in your account than if you just put that original 166 on the Celtics series price at plus 300. So my question is, can the Celtics go win this series is the question. Because if yes, then we should bet plus 300.
I feel, how about this? I feel 3 times as confident that the Celtics are going to win Game 6 that I do win Game 6 and 7. Does that make any sense?
You feel way more confident that they're going to win Game 6 rather than going back to San Francisco and winning 2.
Yeah, so let's flash forward Game 7. How are you feeling? Let's say the Celtics win 110-95 tonight. How do you feel going back to Game 7? They're going to win that game?
I mean, it depends on what happens, like with injuries and all that other stuff.
That's what makes these series bets tough. The rollover, you can stop it after Game 6. You don't have to roll it over into Game 7. When you're locked into the series price, you're locked in tonight, and you got to carry it with you no matter
So you're
what.
risking more by taking the series, but you have the opportunity to win more money. So would you rather win
Exactly.
less with less of a risk or win more with more of a risk?
Yes.
I'd rather risk more in game 6 that I'm confident in than run a series price that I'm not confident in.
That's why we talk
I
this
like
out.
Makes
running
sense.
those
So don't
series
bet the
price.
series price then, is what we're saying. Don't bet the
You're
series
saying
price.
I should or should not?
Should not. If
Bet
you don't
the-
think the Celtics can win this series and you don't feel confident in them going back to Golden State, we should not bet the series price.
But no,
We
it's
should
not-
focus our
I don't
efforts
know.
tonight on game 6.
I have to watch. I have to watch game 6. I got to see like the simple things that they do. I got to see how Jason Tatum attacks Andrew Wiggins. I got to see if the Celtics are going to not walk the ball up the floor. Now, if they do all those things and somehow come away with a win, I would not be confident in game 7. But if they play with pace and they start moving that thing around and they're not trying to worry about matchups and just playing with an emphasis to get the ball to Tatum and Brown, but without trying to focus on just getting the ball to Tatum and Brown, then I like them in game 7. So I feel more confident that they're going to do what I tell them, not what I tell them, what I say. And then we can reevaluate in game 7. So I love them tonight, and I just have to watch to see because it is not easy going on the road with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, those guys, and winning a game 7 on the road. But I do think they're going to win tonight. It is going to be really hard for them to shut this thing down.
Yeah, I have one more prop I want to ask you about, and it's not a Celtics prop. I know you're on a lot of Celtics ones, and we're going to put together all of your props for the Scal same game parlay. But the one I'm looking at is Steph Curry over 28.5 points. He was my Jabara Jabroni the other night because he went over 9 from 3 when I bet over 5.5 threes because he's been averaging 6.2 threes during the postseason, and he was missing shots from the perimeter left and right. Now, before game 5, Scal, he scored at least 29 points in all 4 games so far in the series, averaging 6.3 threes. And his outside shots just didn't fall last game. Like, Boston did a really good job of pressuring him on the perimeter, but he missed shots that he usually makes. And I just see a few more of those falling in tonight. How do you feel about Steph Curry over 28.5 points?
So you like the points, not the threes?
Points, not threes. He absolutely shit the bed with the threes last time. I can't go back to the well for that one. I bet over 9.5.
They're going to lower the number for you.
I'll tell you, I don't. I feel like this is going to be the Warriors, like their off night,
their outlier game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I'm not like sitting here co-signing. Like remember when they went to Memphis and they got blasted? I'm not saying they're going to get blasted, but they were like never going to win that game. I feel like just like the Celtics were never going to win Game 5. I feel like going into this thing, I'm gonna be like, today that style of play is not going to work. Like the moment is maybe too big for the rest of the guys, which doesn't mean he doesn't have 28 or more. But what if he's like sitting the last 8 minutes of the fourth quarter? And what if Steve Kerr says, you know what?
That's true.
Through this, let's just rest our guys and get them ready for 7. So I don't like the big point totals with any of the guys because I don't feel like this is going to be the greatest fourth quarter game 6 we've ever seen. I actually feel like it's not going to unfold like that. I feel like the Celtics are going to come out bigger, stronger, physical, and then like Steve Kerr can wave the white flag early on this one. So even though like the game could be tight, Steve Kerr just be like, you know what, I'm going to sit Steph to start the fourth quarter. Next thing you know, it's 23. And next thing you know, like, man, screw it. We'll get ready for game 7. So I feel like that's going to happen. But I also felt like the Celtics were going to win game 5. And I finally missed one in the series. But today I feel like the Celtics are full of rage after losing 2 games. And they feel like they could beat this team. So I'm not signing up for any of the big numbers because I'm not sure. The big numbers sometimes occur with a couple free throws down the stretch where Steph Curry gets fouled 3 times and makes 6 points doing it that way. So I'm not co-signing the big numbers on both sides, Tatum, Brown, or Curry. And I know a lot of people are calling that those guys are going to go over. I'm not feeling that today at all.
These numbers are so spot on with these big guys. It's really, really tough unless you really feel there's a matchup advantage in your favor to bet the big guys. But that being said, I think Klay Thompson is the one X factor, and we've discussed him at length. And I think Kevon Looney is the other X factor for this Warriors team. It seems like those two guys, when they've played really well, Klay played really well the other night, that gives Golden State a better chance of winning. What's your vibe on both? Klay, is he going to be able to continue what has been a resurgent series for him? And Kevon Looney, is he going to get enough minutes? Because his numbers are very low, but with him, it's all about his playing time. He was in foul trouble in the last game, and even though the Warriors played well, he wasn't involved. Is Looney another guy that we should consider on the Warriors side that the numbers might be a little more favorable?
So if the Celtics jump off to an early lead, like Steve Kerr usually goes with more offensive lineup, and he doesn't play Kevon Looney. Klay Thompson's a crapshoot in the sense, like you're right, like he is like trending that direction, and where he's like, dude, this is old Klay Thompson. It's not fully back old Klay Thompson, but he's like from game 1 to game 5, the guy looks amazing, right?
And so from game 1 of the postseason, like a month ago, I mean, it's been complete trending up.
Yeah, so he looks great. Like the way I'm just telling you guys, the way I'm playing this today is I'm like steering clear of Warriors. The one thing I will always put, always sprinkle a little salt and pepper on Jordan Poole under assist. Always. I'm always doing that. Like when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do.
He hit another buzzer beater the other day. The dude is unbelievable.
No. Assist.
No, I know, but it's like he always gets his name into the score sheet in a big way, but the assists clearly have been
like Jordan Poole could have 28 tonight because the rest of the guys could be sitting in the fourth quarter. Like I'm not like, and it's funny. He hits the buzzer beater at the end of the third, but he airballed one right before that. Like he doesn't even know like that he's not hot, right? And Steve Kerr like rolled his eyes like, "What are you doing?" But I always take the Jordan Poole under assist. It's the only thing I'm gonna play from the Warriors side. I just don't feel like this could be a great Warrior day today. I just don't feel like today's a Warrior day. We have the Red Sox on the matinee. We have the U.S. Open golf. We have the Boston Celtics at night. You're coming into Boston. Dude, and people in Boston are going to be running around just sports all day. There's no way they're coming in and shutting this place down. No way.
I like it.
Assholes are out in full force, LJ.
Literally, Masshole's out in full force. I love it. Scal wakes up and chooses violence against Jordan Poole, fading his assist total. But we are going to make Scal same game parlay.
Let's go.
It's plus 471 on FanDuel. So Scal, go through your 4 picks again for me. And it is plus 471 on FanDuel. Scal's same game parlay.
Wait, what's my same? The one I texted?
All
Celtics
4
3.5
that you have. Yeah.
The one that I texted you guys, or I got the Celtics today covering. Is that one of them?
Celtics covering.
Celtics covering.
The over on the Celtics?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Al Horford,
and then
9.5 points. And threes.
I really love the Al Horford over the threes, making 2 of them, and over his points. He played terrible when he was at 9. I think it's 9.5. So
and if you throw in Jordan Poole's under, I'll make it even more juicy for you.
Yeah.
So we got the Horford points. Yep. We got the Horford threes. Yep. Now I'm going to put in the Golden State team total at 106.5, and then we're going to throw in Celtics laying 3.5. If you throw in Jordan Poole to the mix, that makes it almost 8-1. Yes. It's really juicy. I like that one.
Okay,
I like that a lot, actually.
So
5
we have
now.
Scal's same game parlay. We have Celtics laying the 4 points. Celtics team total over 106.5. Horford over 9.5 points. Horford over 1.5 threes. And Jordan Poole, what's his assist total? Under whatever his assist total is.
2.5.
It's juiced really heavily to the under. That's why we got to put it in a parlay.
Yeah. Jordan Poole is definitely going under 2.5. I will say this.
778, Justin. Plus 778.
I will
for
say
the 5-team SGP. I'm putting $10 on that. You can't stop me.
If they do get blown out, like throw the Jordan Poole thing out because he's just gonna have the ball in his hands. Like he could get the assist, but I'm expecting like a Celtics lead of 12-16, back to 8, back to 12, back to 14, and it all depends on when Steve Kerr waves that white flag and puts Jordan Poole into the game.
I love it. Scal fading Jordan Poole, all about the Celtics. Scal, we're keeping our fingers crossed for you tonight. I know you Didn't want to go back to San Francisco, but
I'm
I
all
know
right
now
with it.
you're hoping to make that one more
He's
trip.
all right. He
and
flies
back to
first
San
class.
Francisco.
Don't feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Why you gotta
We'll
out
be
me
chatting
like
with you
that,
tomorrow.
man? Why you out me like that?
Come on,
I
bro.
love it. I love it.
Can't dish it out if you can't take it,
Scal,
right?
we'll talk to you tomorrow. Scal. Break down the game, hopefully after a Boston win. So good luck tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good
All right,
stuff,
see ya.
bro.
Bye, Scal. I love it. Scal wakes up and chooses violence against Jordan Poole's assist prop. It's my favorite thing of the day. Okay, from the court, we're going to the park because we got our Better Up segment. First of all, we talk about the Yerfies and Nerfies. You are on a streak, but before we talk about that, yesterday, Yes Run first innings went 10-5. Season, Yes Runs first inning are 477 and 466. Now, notable streaks. I'm going to save yours for last. The New York Mets have hit 9 of their last 10 Yes Run first innings. Jared is on a streak of his own, hitting 8 straight Yerfie winners. Let's give him an applause. Love that for Jared and his baseball bet because he faded me on the Avs bet. So, he has to win some way.
It's funny. Yesterday, I gave out 5 picks on the show. 4 of them were baseball bets. 1 of them was a hockey bet. I went 4-0 with the baseball bets and 0-1 with the hockey. Maybe I should stay in my lane.
Stay in your lane. Let the ice queen do her thing, and I'll let the baseball king do his thing.
Freaking lane. God, what am I thinking betting hockey? I'm such an idiot.
Come on now.
We're not stupid betting baseball, though. Again, I track every pick because I'm a narcissistic nut job that, is obsessive compulsive about his bets. 10-2, 7.37 units of profit in the baseball bets given out on this show this week. If you've been watching this show, and Lauren's been doing great with her baseball bets too. She hit more last night. I know Castillo went over strikeouts. I forget your other one. But I was watching that Reds D-backs game in the afternoon, and I remember Castillo went over.
Yeah.
If you're watching the show this week and you have not won money betting baseball, we can't help you anymore. I'm sorry, because it's unbelievable. And this is what happens. You ride the streaks. You don't change your allocation or your, only 1 unit, maybe 1.5 if you're really feeling frisky, but just because we're up doesn't mean we're going to push more chips into the middle. We're going to stay consistent. It is a marathon, not a sprint. I know you've run marathons in the past.
But sometimes we sprint marathons, baby.
You sprint a marathon? That's because you work out like 7 times a day, apparently now. But I would not be sprinting a marathon.
I also hit my Shane McClanahan over.
That's right.
2.5 strikeouts yesterday.
You went 2-0 yesterday with your baseball bets.
I was
2-0
yesterday.
Honestly, we went, and again, 4-0, 2-0.
On fire.
6-0. 6-0 baseball bets yesterday. Now, are we going to do that again today? Who knows? Hopefully. I have 3 props.
Hopefully, I have 2
plus
more
a parlay.
Strikeout props today. You have another couple pitching props today, and you have a walk this way parlay. So we're keeping our fingers crossed.
I do.
Yeah.
What do you want first? Do you want strikeouts, walks, or outs? I'll let you choose.
Give me
liberty or give me death.
No, give me your outs prop, then give me your strikeout prop, then give me your Luis Severino prop because I'm also on Luis Severino strikeouts.
Yeah, because you're also doing stuff in that Yanks game. And also that's chronological order, which I like. Okay, afternoon affair between the A's and the Red Sox. You've got about 3 or so hours to get this baby in. Paul Blackburn under 16.5 outs. So this prop to the under has a 63% hit rate on the year. 7 of 11 starts have stayed under 16.5 outs. 76% of his starts, if you include last season, which is 16 of his last 21, have failed to reach 17 outs. So Paul is an interesting pitcher this year. Did you know he actually is the second most profitable pitcher in baseball if you just blind bet all of his starts on the A's money line? The A's are 8-4, and they're up almost 7 units in games he started this year. But
crazy.
They started 7-1. They're 1 in their lost 3 of their last 4. So we're starting to see some negative regression for Paul Blackburn, who is actually coming off a really good outing. 8 shutout innings against the Guardians. He threw 101 pitches. Why is that important? It's the most pitches he's thrown in a game since 2017. Fun fact about Jared, I love fading pitchers the start after they had a season high and 4-year, 5-year high in pitch count. To me, that's always a fade on the next start. And he's facing a Red Sox lineup that he just faced 2 starts ago. He lasted 4 innings and got knocked around a little bit back on June 4th. So now he's on the road in a day game, which, by the way, his ERA is a full run higher in day games than in road games in his career. And this Red Sox lineup is potent. They've got a very high WRC plus, second highest in the last 30 days, and that's much better than their full season. The Red Sox lineup is trending up, and Blackburn is trending down. And, oh, by the way, cherry on top, it's his first ever outing at Fenway Park. Kind of a quirky field. Quirky mound, quirky dimensions, tough to figure it out. I think the Red Sox lineup's going to get to Blackburn early, under 16.5 outs. Tyler McGill, under 5.5 Ks. Here is the rub on Mr. McGill. He is only probably capped at 80 pitches tonight. This is his second start back from an injury. His first start back, 3 1/3 innings against the Angels. He struck out 4. That was another unique start too, because he's from Long Beach, California, and that was his first time in his entire life pitching professionally in in Orange County. So he was jacked up for that start in his first start back from an injury. Now we'll see how his body mentally and physically bounces back 5 days later in his second start back from that injury. And he's facing Milwaukee now for the 3rd time in his last year and a half. He faced them twice last year, much better in his first outing than his second outing. Now he faces them for a 3rd time, and he's gotten knocked around by some of their guys. Adames, Yelich, Narvaez have all taken him deep. Mm-hmm. So I think under 5.5 strikeouts for McGill. I don't think he's going to be in this game long enough to get to 6 if he's only capped at 80 pitches. Finally, Luis Severino, we got to give you a walks prop today, right? We're hot as heck with the over
love
1.5.
Props.
Woo! We'll get to the parlay in a minute. Plus 110 for this prop. So if you recall last night, I was prognosticating that we were going to get this pitchers duel vibe where both lineups kind of had this patient approach at the plate to try to drive up the other ace's pitch count. I was right. Mm-hmm. Both lineups had over 1.5 walks against the opposing starting pitcher. I feel the same way about this one tonight. Severino's been kind of wild in his career, 60% hit rate on this prop this year. And despite the fact that Tampa Bay is a below average walk team against righties, last year they were a 10% walk rate against righties. So I think this year they just regressed a little bit. And I think we're going to see some positive regression for them with their approach at the plate. And I like the spot for Severino tonight. He's going to be throwing hard. He's going to probably throw deep into the game, but I think he's going to walk 2 guys or more. So those are our 3 pitcher props today. I'll try to keep the run going. You see it at the bottom of the screen. Blackburn under 16.5 outs. McGill under 5.5 Ks. Severino over 1.5 walks.
You think it's going to be over 1.5 walks? I think it's going to be over 6.5 strikeouts too for Luis Severino, and I'm laying 18 cents for it. This guy has been on an absolute roll. He's gone past 6.5 in 5 of his last 6 starts, and he's also pitched at least 6 innings in each of his last 5 starts. So he's pitching deep into games, and he's going up against a team like the Tampa Bay Rays, who have struggled a little bit offensively, especially against righties, and they only have an 84 WRC plus over the last couple of weeks. So with Severino already going deep into games and the Rays only having an 84 WRC plus, he's going to go deep into this game. And the Rays have a K rate right now of 23.1%, which ranks in the bottom half of the league at this point. So with Severino pitching the way that he is and the Rays struggling the way that they are offensively, the over seems like a really good spot here. So Luis Severino over 6.5 strikeouts at minus 118. Now the other one I'm looking at is Tristan McKenzie over 4.5 strikeouts. I love the overs on these strikeout props. I want to see batters just get called out, and I'm laying 22 cents for it. I got that on FanDuel. He's going up against the Rockies, who have a 25.2 strikeout rate right now against righties over the last couple of weeks, and that is the 5th worst in Major League Baseball during that time. They also have a horrendous WRC plus of 69 and only have a 7.1% walk rate against righties during that time. Now, McKenzie has hit this total in 2 of his last 3 starts. He's also done it in 6 starts this season, gone over 4.5 strikeouts. Make it 7 tonight. So Tristan McKenzie over 4.5 strikeouts at minus 122, and I got that on FanDuel. Give me some strikeouts, baby. Now, before we
If
get
we
into
go
NHL
undefeated
talk,
again with pitcher props
I'm gonna freak
today,
out. I'm gonna freak out.
I mean, we really
Freak
did. Like,
out.
honestly, like I went
I know.
4. Now, one of them was a Yurfie, but the other 3 were all pitcher props. And we went 5-0 with pitcher props yesterday.
Yep.
Baseball is fun when you're winning. Gambling is fun when you're winning.
I love
right?
winning. I love winning.
Love winning.
What I know.
Love
If you
winning.
ain't first, you're last, Ricky Bobby. Okay, let's walk this way to the walk this way. Parlay. Who do we got today?
Ooh, that was an extra bar you put there at the end, Jabbar. That was
Thank
an
you.
extra Jabbar at the end of that parlay.
Hopefully these guys
so-
won't be Jabbar's jabronis, okay?
No jabronis, hopefully tonight. All right, so we're going to go in
jabronis
chronological order again because that seems to be the theme of the day.
It seems to be the best thing
Afternoon
to do.
affair. Yeah, of course. Why not? Matinee affair, Blue Jays, Orioles. We'll go the gas man, Kevin Gossman, over a half. All he has to do is walk one batter here. So he's walked at least one in 7 straight games, and his last start he walked 3. And we've talked about Kevin Gossman. Great start to the season, but some regression of late. So I'll go over a half. He's facing the Orioles at home today. Patrick Corbin at home against the Phillies. We'll go over 1.5. He's gone over this in 3 of his last 4. Philly has the 5th highest walk rate in the last 7 days at 10%. And then finally, Aaron Ashby over 1.5 at the Mets. He has walked over 4 batters per 9 innings in his starts this year. And the Mets have been a high walk team, 9th highest walk rate against lefties at just over 9%. Officially, no Yurfie on my card today. I am not putting the streak on the line. But if I did, and if I was close, which I was very close pre-show, our producer Justin can confirm this, the Mets-Brewers game would be the Yurfie that I would pick. Obviously, the Mets, 9 of their last 10 Yurfies. And Ashby's the wild card here. He's a gas flamethrower. He's got great stuff, but he could be wild. He could be great. And that's where I wasn't sure. And I laid off the Mets Brewers Yurfie, but I think it's got a decent chance to hit and it backs the trend. So that would be the one Yurfie I would play today, but I'm not putting my record on the line. I'm not.
I like it. Okay,
Holding
so
on
hopefully
to
we
it
hit
for
2 straight walk this way parlays as we walk straight to Denver, Colorado at altitude, where the Avs took game 1 of the Stanley Cup final. We're not going to spend too much time on it. Obviously, we'll break it down even more the next couple of days, get into our game 2 bets, but just game 1 recap. Give us 6 more of those, please. Go Avs, baby. It was a crazy fast pace. The home crowd was rocking. These are the 2 best hockey teams on this planet going head-to-head. And Andre Burakovsky comes in clutch 2 minutes into overtime, puts it away, put an exclamation point on that game. The Avs were not intimidated by the 2-time defending champ in the Tampa Bay Lightning. Vasilevsky allowed 3 goals in a period for the first time ever in his postseason career. And rest versus rust, the Avs don't know what rust looks like. That rest helped them, and they were ready to rock it out, Jared.
They were. I give you full credit. You were on top of it. You know your team.
That wasn't even supposed to be a dig. I'm just saying, what is rust?
You deserve to talk your smack today. They came out and they did everything that you said that they were going to do yesterday, which was not be rusty and look really fresh. Now, again, I do think we have to give Tampa Bay a ton of credit because I think a lesser team would have just fallen under the avalanche, literally, that first period was. Let's look at so now we see some shifting in the prices. Now the Lightning, I see plus 240 for the Lightning to win the series over at DraftKings. I've already bet a unit on it. And again, it's not just because I don't want
You're all in on the Lightning, are we, huh?
I just think they're overvalued in the series because, again, let's look at it objectively. The Avs had a ton of rest. There was a question about whether or not they were going to be rusty or rested. They were rested. That now we put that beside us and we move on to game 2. Let's look at game 1 objectively, not just the first period, but the full 60-plus minutes. I think Tampa Bay really skated well in the second and third period. They found their legs.
They did.
They held Tampa Bay scoreless. Vasilevsky settled in. It took Tampa Bay 2 full games to settle into the Rangers series. It took them 1 period, I think, to settle into this series. And here's the part that is very encouraging for me about Tampa Bay. I think Braden Point looked fantastic. 18 minutes on the ice. He had 1 assist, and he won more faceoffs than he lost. He, I think, will also get better as the series goes on, as he continues to find his legs. So what we're doing is we're betting on Tampa Bay to win the series at plus 240. and the scenario is they're down one game on the road. What do we say about series don't start until the home team loses? So I think we're getting, again, I'm not saying the Lightning are going to win the series, but if we're talking about just pricing, overvalued, undervalued, I think Tampa Bay at plus 240 is a good bet. And I'm going to make it. If they lose, they lose. I'll wear it the next day. But I think it's a decent bet to make because of the full picture that we are taking into account with this series.
Here's the one thing I will say is the Avs outshot the Lightning 38-23. Even though the game looked pretty even in that second and third period, the Avs were still getting more offensive opportunities, and Vasilevsky was the difference in that game for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't think offensively the Lightning can hang with the Colorado Avalanche. It is literally the Avs offense versus Andrei Vasilevsky, and it just depends on who comes out on top in that fight. Because the Avs, how they play is they play fast. They skate it up through the neutral zone. Teams cannot keep up with their speed, especially going into altitude and playing at altitude. And I think that they're going to be able to take advantage of that again here in game 2. But when you outshoot a team 38-23, Darcy Kemper only saw 23 shots on goal and he let 3 of them in. And one of them was kind of a biscuit, to be honest with you. That third goal I don't think should have gone in. He should have been able to see that. I mean, granted, I wouldn't have, the Lightning had 23 shots on goal. I would have probably seen 2 of them. They would have scored 21. So, I can't
give yourself more credit.
At the same time,
come on. You would have stopped at least 4 or 5.
I'm giving the Lightning credit, but I'm giving the Avs offense a little bit more credit because they did outshoot them by 15. Yeah. So it is going to be really interesting to see moving forward how this series kind of progresses going into game 2. We'll obviously be giving you guys our bets more so Friday. I'm not on the show Friday, but I'll give you my bets obviously on Saturday morning before that.
Yeah, Saturday, I think that is noteworthy as well. The extra day off I think is interesting because we don't see that in the playoffs in the NHL very often. I would assume it favors the Lightning, but I don't know. I don't know if the extra day matters at all. Because again, you're right. The altitude, and they mentioned it on the broadcast last night, the altitude absolutely plays a factor. So you would think the extra day for the Lightning to continue to get acclimated to the altitude would help them slightly. But I didn't feel that the Lightning were like completely blitzed in that game. You're right. The shots were pretty stark. A lot of them did take place in the first period, and a lot of them took place during the power plays in that first period. I know they had the 5-on-3, which is where they got one of their goals. It really is going to be, can Tampa Bay make adjustments? I thought they made good adjustments from period 1 to periods 2 and 3. What are the adjustments between game 1 and 2, and how do they, have an impact on game 2? I am noticing the game 2 line is shorter. The game 2 line is shorter than game 1. The Lightning are only like plus 125, plus 130, where last night I got them at plus 140. So read that in for whatever it is, but there's a little shortness, a little compression there with the line for game 2.
And the last thing that I'll say before we head into our play of the days is I said special teams is going to make a difference here in this series, and we saw it make a difference with the Avs. Also in periods 2 and 3, the Avs the Avs penalty kill looked phenomenal.
Yes,
for 2 straight power plays, the Lightning didn't get a single shot on goal. Yes. So it's going to be interesting to see how special teams moving forward make a difference. Okay, let's get into our best bets of the day. But before we do, Jared, let's go to the 3-stop play of the day. Who we got?
We do have one. I will also mention the U.S. Open is happening right now. Our friend Diane Knox came on this show as we speak right now. Our buddy Rory McIlroy, who Diane Knox is going for her second consecutive outright win after last week. He is right where he needs to be. 2 under par, 1 shot back of the lead. Colin Morikawa right now has the lead at 3 under. We are going to be I'm going to be off the show on Saturday and Sunday. I'll be at a wedding, but on Saturday, I know we're going to be talking a lot more about the U.S. Open, and I'm sure Diane will have a lot of thoughts on where she thinks Rory stands. But good start for our 3-star bet with Diane's outright pick of Rory McIlroy. For tonight, Mark Lammy has a play on the Nationals-Phillies total. That's all I'll give you. Go to Pickswise.com and check it out. Good luck.
Pickswise.com, read about our 3-star play of the days. Jared, what's your 3-star play of the day?
Yeah, we went back and forth about this one, and Scal was so funny. I went on like a minute-long rant to Scal on that money line rollover, and I think he was like a kid like, one of the flunkies in class that didn't know what the teacher was talking about. He had no idea what the hell I was talking about. But we were going back and forth on how we were going to best play the Celtics game tonight. I think it makes sense that we bet the Celtics for our pod because it is the most important game happening on the board tonight. And I think I'm just going to trust Scal's original take that the Celtics are going to bounce back and play well tonight, and they are going to win, and they are going to cover. Because why? If they win the game, well, 26 straight playoff winners have covered the spread. And in the finals since 2014, when the spread is 6 or less, it is 6 or less tonight. The team that wins the game is 67-0-1 against the spread. So I'm not worried about the money line. We're going to feel confident to lay at 3.5 with the Celtics tonight, and we're going to hope they bounce back in their wins in this series. They're averaging 118 points, and they've covered easily. In their losses, they've been blown out, and they're averaging 93. We think it's going to be a 7th-game series. We think the Celtics are going to win tonight, so we feel confident laying the 3.5 points. Boston, shipping it back west. Celtics winning cover. POD. Book it, LJ.
I like it. I'm kind of piggybacking off of you. If the Celtics win and cover, Marcus Smart is going to have himself a game. I like his over 15.5 points at -118, only laying 18 cents for it. He's gone over this total in 3 straight games, including over 20 points in 2 games so far this series. He's become a legit offensive weapon for the Boston Celtics. And his 3-point shooting has gotten really, really good too. He's shooting 40.6% on 6.4 attempts from deep in the finals. And his volume and success make me a fan of the over 15.5 points here. Also, the Boston Celtics have their back against the wall. They play their best usually when they have their back against the wall. They are 7-1 after a loss this postseason. I like those stats. I like Marcus Smart getting open, hitting some threes, and also driving to the rim, getting some easy layups too. 15.5 points, -118 for Marcus Smart. Lock it in, baby. And with that, we wrap up the show. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Let's get it. Let's bet it. Have a great night. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.